VinFast. You probably heard about them at the Auto Expo earlier this year. But who are they and what do they do? Well, they're a Vietnamese automaker. They're very new, almost like a startup, but they're already sending waves all over. They've got new cars already in production. They've already become the best-selling car in Vietnam, and they have global ambitions. They've set up a plant in Tamil Nadu, and they're soon going to be assembling these two cars right here in India. This is the VF6 and this is the VF7. Let's take a closer look. Let's start with this car. This is the VF6. It's a 4.3 meter long SUV. That is the Creta segment. And well, it's fully electric. VinFast makes EVs only. This one, it's got the VinFast face. As you can see, both cars have a similar face with the LEDs coming out of the VinFast logo, split headlamps at the bottom, and down below you'll even see the radar for the ADAS. This car is running on 18-inch wheels, which is an India-specific modification. They've actually made changes to the car just for India. You can see it's riding a little high. You can see the gap in the wheel arch. That is one of the changes they've made in terms of suspension ride height, just to make it better for our roads, and also wheel sizes. Over at the rear, you've got this tail lamp design. Again, a family design. You can see it on both cars over here with the LEDs coming out of the VinFast logo. VF6, that denominates the model line, and overall it looks pretty cool. Now the styling, well, like it or don't like it, it is quite odd. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. It's got this sloped down nose. It's not very upright like we like our SUVs in India, but it is an interesting face. It does look very global. Now this is the interior of the VF6. Interestingly, no instrument cluster behind the steering wheel. You only get a head-up display, and that is how you get information readouts. You can see it up there in the distance. The steering wheel, nice, chunky. You've got your steering mounted controls, indicators on the left. You've got your headlamps and you've got your wiper controls on the right. Large infotainment screen. This is what you're going to get when it comes to India as well. These are right-hand drive cars, by the way. These are prototypes that are going to be launched in India. Vietnam is a left-hand drive market. These are cars for India, and the cars for India get some interesting changes. So you get ventilated seats. That's not something you get in cars anywhere else from VinFast. You also get a whole other load of controls in here. So if you want to do your drive modes, you can pick between eco, normal and sport. You can also pick between your regen levels over here. Your AC controls are also in the screen, so you get dual zone AC, you get ventilated seats, and you get an ionizer in the AC controls. You also get a whole bunch of apps. This is your app library. You can play all sorts of stuff in here, and you've got seamless integration for your smartphone device. This is your gear selector. Below that, you've got free space. This is an empty space in the center tunnel in the VF6. Cup holders over here, and you've got under armrest storage over here. And of course, you get a panoramic sunroof as well, but there's no blind to shut it. This is glass, and that's all you get. The rear seat is interesting. You get reasonable amount of space, and you get stuff like this armrest over here with cup holders. In terms of knee room, I'll show you. Let me get inside. You get a slightly high floor, but you get adequate knee room in the back. My knees are in a slight upright position, but apart from that, you do get good space. Also in the back seat, you get this aircon vent over here and two USB type A ports. No type C port in this car. Okay, first driving impressions of the VinFast VF6. The first thing I noticed was the steering wheel is a little smaller in terms of its radius than other cars, which, I mean, it neither helps or hinders the driving experience. It's just an interesting observation that I had. Another interesting observation I had is that you do not have an instrument cluster, and that is a bit odd initially. We've driven cars without instrument clusters before. The Minis, for example, now only have a head-up display and a center screen, and this is in that vein. The head-up display, pretty comprehensive. You can see your speed, you can see your range, you can see your ADAS features, all of that up there. The only thing is, it doesn't work too well with polarized glasses. I mean, it's sort of cutting the brightness of the HUD by a fair bit. The VF6 gets a 59 kilowatt hour battery, and in terms of performance, you get a single motor on the front wheels that puts out 198 bhp and 309 Nm. And with that, performance is pretty sprightly. In normal mode, it's very easy, very linear in terms of its power delivery, but you can go into the touchscreen and put a sport mode, and it just becomes a little more punchy and a little more powerful. It just gives you a little bit hint of performance. All of these EVs are like that. They have that great pickup and great acceleration thanks to the instantaneous nature of the torque. And of course, it's quiet, it's refined. I did find a slight vibration under hard acceleration, but what the people over here tell me is that these are pre-production prototypes. Production is still about 2 months away from now, so there will be refinements that will be done to all parts of the car before we see them in production. Another interesting aspect to the VF6 is the increase in ride height. So ride height has been increased a little bit for our conditions, and you get different wheels and tires as well. So the VF6 in India will get 18-inch wheels compared to the 19s available in international markets. The idea here is, number one, to get a little better ride quality. You get like taller sidewalls on the tires now. And number two, just to protect it. Our roads are bad, tire cuts are common, especially on lower profile tires, and the idea here is to prevent that. Now, ride quality, little hard to judge on a test track like this with smooth roads, but what you can tell is that there is, well, a little bit of vertical movement when you hit small bumps and dips in the road. It's not unnerving, it's not uncomfortable, but it is present. I'm sure the suspension is still being tuned a little bit, fine-tuned for final production, and we will see the final cars when they finally launch in India. Brakes, well, being an EV, you do get regeneration, so you can set your regeneration from off to low to medium to high, and what that allows you to do is change the rate of deceleration of the throttle. And of course, you've got your friction brakes. And while the brakes do feel a little vague on the pedal, they are strong. I have no complaints in terms of their stopping power, but feel not so great. You can modulate the deceleration on the throttle, but that window is very small, so it is a little hard. But that's not a problem. The deceleration works well. You get off the gas. Even in the highest regen setting, it's not too aggressive, it's not unnerving, and it's not going to make you or your passengers feel too sick. Handling, again, hard to say. This track is not really a handling track. You do have one big skid pad, and we did chuck it around a little bit, and it does have good steering feel off center. You do have good weight in the steering wheel, and it does grip a fair bit. You can put some amount of lateral loads in. There is of course body roll, but this is a family SUV at the end of the day, and cars like these do have driving dynamics that aren't the most sporty. That's all right. These cars are meant for families, for being driven around town in, and they should do that job very well. Overall, pretty impressive first impression of the VF6. They've got so much right. The car feels solid, the car drives nicely. Okay, I would say that putting so many features into the screen is not the best idea. Stuff like mirrors, maybe you can keep them outside. Headlamp controls should be physical buttons, and maybe even HVAC controls should be physical buttons. That's one criticism that I can draw at it, but apart from that, very hard to criticize the VF6. Now let's talk about the VF7. Now this is going to sit above the VF6 in VinFast India lineup. This is a 4.5 meter long SUV, and just for context, Tucson is 4.6 meters long, so this is just a tad bit shorter than a Tucson. It's got a little more premium face as well. As you can see, you've got the headlamps up front, the VinFast DRLs, and you've got these little blades in the bumper, which is differentiated from the VF6 a little bit. You've also got more striking looking headlamps with these aero vents in them. Over on the side, the wheelbase is longer, and that's interesting. It's got a lot of space on the inside. I'll show that to you. It's running 19-inch wheels with these aero blades, Apollo tires, interestingly. And over at the rear, you've got this raked back roofline and these strong haunches. It does look pretty cool from the rear. This is probably my favorite angle of the VF7. The VF7 is positioned a little bit above the VF6, and the interior represents that as well. Just like the VF6, no cluster, you only get the head-up display. This here is a sensor to monitor the driver and his awareness or her awareness. Same steering wheel pretty much, and the same screen over here as well. The changes are down below. You get a wireless phone charger over here and a lot more storage. You got cup holders and this little box along with USB Type-C ports. The dashboard is interesting. You get this vegan leather finish. This is another change they made for India. No real leather, but they've got an artificial vegan leather for Indian spec cars. The back seat is where the VF7 really impresses. You get in here, you've got a lot more under thigh support compared to the VF6, and just look at the amount of space you have. This is insane. I've got like a full palm full of space over here. It's really generous in terms of space. The seat is also very comfortable. It's plush, it reclines. It is reclined to a nice angle, and it's really comfortable to be in. At the back over here, you get USB Type A, plus you get a Type-C port in the VF7. The VF7 is going to be available in India with two drivetrains. One is the front wheel drive and the second is the all-wheel drive. Now the front wheel drive shares the same motor setup as the VF6. So you get a single motor, front axle, 198 bhp, 309 Nm of torque. Now this car also has a much bigger battery. It has a 75.3 kilowatt hour battery, and that makes it a lot heavier. So this front wheel drive version doesn't feel as quick and sprightly as the VF6. Obviously it has more weight to pull along. It's also a larger car. So the front wheel drive, while it is adequate, I wouldn't say it's the most punchy in the range. And VinFast knows that, which is why they're giving you the option of an all-wheel drive variant. And what that does is basically put another motor on the rear axle and you get a lot more in terms of performance. You get 343 bhp and 499 Nm. Now I'm not driving that variant, but I'm sure that would be plenty, and 0 to 100 claim times in that are under 6 seconds, so that should be pretty quick. That aside, sitting inside this VF7, I think the main difference is of course the interior and its luxuries. So you get tan faux leather over here. This is what they call vegan leather. You've got a lot more storage in here, much better resolve. You've got a tray for your phone with a wireless phone charger. You've got nice cup holders, USB ports, and good under armrest storage as well. Like the VF6, no instrument cluster, you just get a head-up display. That's the only option you get over here, and you continue to get this massive infotainment screen. Ride quality, well, this does ride a little more settled. You feel the heft a little bit more, and it doesn't have the same little bit of vertical movement that the VF6 has. But again, hard to say on the track. Once we get these cars in India, we'll really be able to give you a true evaluation in terms of what they're like, in terms of their ride and handling as well. Overall first impressions, again, like I said, very impressive. So as I said, both these two cars, they feel really complete and very impressive. They drive really well, the feature content is really well, and they seem really serious about India because they have made really important tweaks and changes for the India spec car. Stuff like ventilated seats, stuff like the vegan leather, stuff like putting in a better air compressor so that the AC works better in our hot climate. They've really thought through what needs to go into these cars for India, and they're coming in with a bang before Diwali this year. What do you think of these two SUVs? Let me know in the comments below.